President Biden, something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
It was unfair. I smell a rat in the comments that were made. But I have to say, I just thought it was unnecessary for him to talk about that.
And today I issue another warning. If Crooked Joe gets 4 more years, his second term will make his first term look like paradise. We're not going to have a country left anymore. We're not going to let it happen.
So last week you had President Joe Biden's mental acuity questioned by a special counsel, and then you had a whole host of reaction pour in from across the political spectrum, including from Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Welcome back, Bishop on Air here, and you can chime in the comments below. Plenty of people in the live feed chiming in as well. So if you want to follow along live, join us each and every weekday morning about 7:40ish or so when we click that live button, and you can sound off in the chat room live. A little bit later on this week, we may get into some of the Discord as well. And if you want to join the Discord, I think a good way to do that is just go to my website, bishoponair.com, and click that Discord link right there at the top menu. You should be able to get there. All right, so let's get into this. Of course, last week you had the special counsel report that was released about President Joe Biden's handling of classified materials from when he was vice president and also a U.S. senator. Comparing it to, the criminal charges against the former president, Donald Trump, and how he handled things. But one of the major questions was, would Biden even be able to stand trial if it was about, his mental fitness and whether or not he knew that he was mishandling classified documents? Here is President Biden talking about that yesterday in just one question, or last week in just one question that a Fox News reporter asked of President Biden.
These assertions are not only misleading, they're just plain wrong. On page 215, if you had a chance, I know it's a thick document. On page 215, the report of the special counsel found the exact opposite. Here's what he wrote. There is, in fact, a shortage of evidence that I willfully retained classified materials related to Afghanistan. On page 12, the special counsel also wrote for another documents. The decision to decline criminal charges was straightforward. The evidence suggests that Mr. Biden did not willfully retain these documents. The evidence said I did not willfully retain these documents. In addition, I know there's some attention paid to some language in the report about my recollection of events. There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business. Let me tell you something. Some of you have commented, I wear since the day he died, every single day, the rosary he got from Our Lady of... Every Memorial Day we hold a service remembering him, attended by friends and family and the people who loved him. I don't need anyone to remind me when he passed away or passed away. Simple truth is I sat for a 5-hour interview over 2 days of events going back 40 years. At the same time I was managing international crisis, their task was to make a decision about whether to move forward with charges in this case. That's their decision to make. That's the counsel's decision to make. That's his job. And they decided not to move forward.
Well, they decided not to move forward, as a Fox News reporter highlighted, because of a particular issue questioning Biden's mental capacity.
President Biden, something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
Well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's totally out.
How bad is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad I let you speak. That's
your memory has gotten worse, Mr.
No,
President?
look, my memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed.
So, again, President Biden trying to defend his mental fitness, being asked questions by reporters, and then it devolved with reporters yelling out all kinds of questions. And I think that that's just a symptom of the president not holding a lot of news conferences. So when you do have a news conference with the president of the United States, everybody's competing to get their questions in, especially with something like this. But of course, a lot of the corporate press, it's interesting to see how they've talked about this. Some saying, well, Biden's mental acuity is problematic. Others with a more supporting role of the president, some surrogates in corporate media, saying, oh, this is all just, it's wrong for the special counsel to even bring this up, the mental acuity of the president. And that seems to be where Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker was when he was asked about this on Friday.
Well, let's start with the headline, which is that it was found that President Biden didn't do anything wrong, that he isn't being charged. There is still an investigation. Indeed, there is a criminal case against former President Trump on something similar, but he committed what looks to me like, I would describe it as treason. Hiding documents that are classified, not being forthcoming when asked about it. Remember, President Biden absolutely was transparent about everything. So that's the first comment I'd make about what the headline of yesterday should have been. I also will point out that I thought it was extremely unfair for he was a Trump appointee originally to the Department of Justice, to offer his own opinions about the mental acuity or age of the President of the United States. I've been with the President of the United States many times. He is on the ball. The man knows more than most of us have forgotten. He knows so much more because he's been in government for a number of years now and served in important positions. He's managing 2 wars across the world, protecting the interests of the United States and making sure that our economy came out of what could have been another Great Depression because of the previous president, the one who's running now as the Republican, seemingly will be the Republican nominee.
So, a few things there. Of course, the governor still standing by President Joe Biden, despite some people speculating, Governor Pritzker has ambitions to get into the White House. Of course, we've got the Democratic National Convention coming to Chicago in August, so we'll be watching that closely as well. But the questions persisted with Governor J.B. Pritzker about Biden's mental fitness. And, the question about, well, what about the Americans who read this, who see the president on stage, sometimes looking like he's confused? And even, former President Donald Trump has his imitations that he does of Biden. But Pritzker, again, saying that, he's been with President Biden time and again, and he's sharp. He knows more than most of us have forgotten, and so on. But Pritzker saying that the special counsel's reports, especially the element in there about Biden's mental fitness, he says was a plant of sorts.
I don't know what his purpose was. I just think that, when you're in the job of special counsel and making decisions about whether to charge somebody and investigating, that offering your personal opinions about someone's capability, it was unfair. I smell a rat in the comments that were made. But I have to say, I just thought it was unnecessary for him to talk about that. I thought I would describe the entire subject matter that he raised as unfair.
And then the governor was asked, should President Biden do more public events and maybe take more questions from media? Get out there and mix it up with members of the public, because that really hasn't happened a whole lot, especially heading into a re-election effort.
What more can he demonstrate? The man is not only managing, crises across the world.
Out there and being involved with press conferences where you're taking Q&A and all.
I'll speak from personal experience. You can have public events and you have to manage the state. Sometimes managing the state means having lots of meetings and private, collaborations, and then coming to conclusions about what you ought to move forward on. And you try to be as public as you can. I think that I've had press conferences. If you look at all the press conferences, probably 5 a week since I became governor 5 years ago. And I just don't know what more the president can do. But it's always good for him to be in public. I think he shows off just how smart he is and just how capable he is when he is in public.
So again, that's Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker on Friday being asked about the special counsel reports about Biden's mental capacity on Thursday. And President Donald Trump, who's running for re-election, against the incumbent Joe Biden. He was at the National Rifle Association this past week, and he also held another rally, massive rally with, I don't even know how many thousands of people were there, but at the NRA convention, Trump talked about Biden and his fitness and what a second term would mean for America if President Joe Biden was to get reelected.
Joe Biden is the worst and most incompetent and most corrupt president in the history of our country. And today I issue another warning. If Crooked Joe gets 4 more years, his second term will make his first term look like paradise. We're not going to have a country left anymore. We're not going to let it happen. We can never, ever let that happen. The stampede of illegal aliens across our borders will surge into the tens of millions. I hate to tell you, we're already there. I believe that you'll have 19 million people have come into our country illegally by the end of his term.
So clearly the politics continues, and what's going to happen with Trump's access to the ballots? That's something else that's top of mind. And even Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker saying that the state of Illinois will abide by whatever the U.S. Supreme Court comes up with. Incredible times we live in, no doubt. Thanks for being here and watching it all unfold alongside me each and every weekday morning here with Bishop on Air. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow along. All right, more coming up, as always, with Bishop on Air.